Life throws choices at us in the weirdest ways. Non-stop, perpetual, unyielding choices. We pour so much energy into deciding things, right? Like what to munch on, what outfit to throw on, which spot to head to, or what words to let slip. Yet, how frequently do we tackle the choice that counts above all, the one where we decide to just embrace our true selves? Not the version your folks dreamed up, not what the world demands, not even the ideal you imagine you ought to be. Simply the real you, straightforward and unadorned. And get this, the instant you commit to that choice, the second you genuinely pick yourself, not from ego or self-centeredness, but from a profound awareness of your authentic self, things start shifting. Not due to some grand gesture, but because you quit something utterly ordinary. You cease the act. So here's a question for you. When did you last gaze at your existence and truly wonder, Chaitati quote Zao for that phantom crowd in your mind, forever observing, critiquing, tallying points? Most folks skip that inquiry altogether, caught up in the show, striving to nail it, to force it to click, to validate something to strangers we'll likely never cross paths with. But imagine halting that. What unfolds when you ultimately select yourself? Well, it's nothing like you'd expect. See, society drills into us that self-prioritizing is egotistical, that it involves ditching everyone else, shirking duties, fleeing to a remote shore to lounge beneath fronds and tune out reality. But that's way off base. Opting for yourself isn't dismissing existence. It's welcoming it fully. It's acknowledging you're no outsider in the cosmos, but woven right into its fabric. And right then, when you embrace that truth and quit battling your inherent self, something remarkable unfolds. You unwind. Snorts. Truth is, plenty of people have no clue about unwinding. They figure it involves sprawling on a sofa, idle. Yet true unwinding, the variety that transforms everything, isn't idleness. It's engaging in your actions, music, free of pushback, free from that nagging inner chatter questioning. Quote 1. What'll others say? Does it measure up? When you opt for yourself, that chatter fades, not from conquering or stifling it, but from ceasing to give it weight. You've grasped that the chatter wasn't ever truly yours. It was merely the reverberation of everyone who dictated your supposed identity. Music, your family, educators, peers, societal norms. They all had good intentions, sure, but they aimed to mold you into their vision, their blueprint, their notion of a fulfilling path. Trouble is, their vision never suited you. Ponder music that. Ever crammed into garments that pinch? It's awkward, yeah? Movement's restricted. Breathing's a chore. You waste hours tugging, tweaking, forcing a fix. That's how most navigate their days, striding in ill-fitting attire, feigning ease, puzzled by their constant fatigue. Selecting yourself feels like shedding that mismatch and slipping into what truly suits. And instantly, you see the vitality you'd been squandering, all the labor poured into impersonation, upholding a facade, affirming your value. Snorts, it simply dissolves. What's remaining is this effortless natural poise, this comfort dwelling in your own body. But now it turns fascinating. Music. Once you truly select yourself, once you drop the pursuit of others' ideals and embody your essence, others pick up on it. Some won't approve. Actually, a few will feel profoundly unsettled by it, since your genuineness spotlights their own facade. Your liberty underscores their confinement, stirring discomfort. Thus, they'll attempt to reel you in. They'll challenge your paths. They'll claim you've morphed. They'll label you self-absorbed, music, reckless, unwise. And unless you're vigilant, you'll buy into it. You'll suspect they might be onto something, that reverting to old patterns could be wiser. It felt secure, at least, predictable even, but reversion's impossible. After sampling genuine liberty, after sensing life from your core rather than borrowed standards, that awareness sticks. It's akin to emerging from slumber. The dream lingers in memory, but you recognize its illusion. And this is the part folks miss about self-selection. It isn't a singular act, it's an ongoing habit. Each dawn, you rise and recommit. Will I exist for my truth today or theirs? Will I respect my inner knowing or feign otherwise? On most days, things flow smoothly. You rise in the morning, your mind is sharp, and you're clear on your priorities. Yet there are those tougher moments, certain snorts occasions, those ingrained habits surge forward once more. The craving for validation, the dread of dismissal, the urgent urge to belong. During such music times, it's crucial to treat yourself with kindness. Remind yourself that prioritizing your true self isn't about flawlessness, it's about raw honesty. Allow me to share something that could catch you off guard. Truly embracing yourself, fully dedicating to that path, doesn't lead to loneliness, it fosters deeper bonds. Genuine links form only among those who are real. When you're faking it, you're just linking up with others' facades. It's akin to two disguises chatting away. But when you're authentically you, in your essence, I spot echoes of my own essence. This truth has long been understood by spiritual sages. We're interconnected, not divided. We merely perceive separation. The instant you opt for yourself, that veil lifts. You start piercing the myth of isolation. You come to see that the self you're embracing isn't this tiny, isolated ego. It's far grander. It's existence itself, manifesting in this unique shape, this specific vessel, music, this exact instant. Here's an illustration. Picture yourself as a ripple on the sea. For ages you've assumed you're merely that single modest swell, detached from the rest, striving to endure, to grow taller, to persist. But eventually, insight dawns. You're not solely a ripple, you're the entire sea. You've eternally been the sea. Clears throat. The ripple is merely a fleeting shape, a rhythm, a movement the sea performs. Once you grasp this, the world shifts. No more terror of breaking against the rock, since you realize dissolution isn't the end. You're simply merging back into your timeless nature. Abruptly, embodying the ripple turns joyful. It's pure delight. It's the sea reveling in its own motion, music revealing itself, honoring itself. That's the transformation when you select yourself. You discover you're not some fragile entity shielding against the universe. You're the music universe, your very vitality. And with that vision, the entire dynamic alters. You're done competing for victory. You're engaging simply to engage, music. Yet countless folks never reach this awareness, gripped by terror of self-selection. They're petrified of the fallout from dropping the act. Suppose I get fired? What if my loved ones shun me? What if I flop? What if solitude engulfs me? These worries are valid. I'm not dismissing them. But consider this. The existence you're enduring presently, the one sidestepping self-choice, where you're endlessly accommodating others, fulfilling demands, validating your value, does that qualify as true vitality, or merely a gradual fade? For without choosing yourself, music, you erode a fragment daily. Each instance you agree when your heart screams refusal. Each forced grin amid inner turmoil. Music. Each feigned contentment masking deep sorrow, you're eroding an inner treasure. Music, something vital, something singular, your genuineness. Devoid of that, existence dulls. Music. It all turns drab, routine, autopilot. You stir awake, navigate the routine, meet obligations, then retire. Music. And tomorrow, the cycle repeats. Is that your purpose here? To function like a device? Music. To serve as an obedient automaton following orders? I doubt it. I believe you arrive to thrive, to sense profoundly, to cherish wholly, to embrace the spectrum of human experience. And that's impossible music without embodying your truth. Impossible if you're concealed behind a veneer, enacting a part, adhering to a narrative scripted by outsiders, music, for you. So, what unfolds when you at last embrace yourself? Awakening strikes, music, not softly, not piecemeal over time, but abruptly, fiercely, utterly, like flinging wide the drapes in a shadowed chamber, flooding it with radiance. What once seemed unyielding begins to fade. What you deemed essential now appears insignificant. Music. And what you overlooked, what you sidelined because it clashed with the agenda, that emerges into focus. You start perceiving your reality as it truly stands, not the version you've convinced yourself of. Not the narrative others imposed as ideal, but the unvarnished truth, here and now, in this very breath. Perhaps you recognize your career is a mismatch. Perhaps your partnership feels off-kilter. Perhaps the foundation you've constructed isn't the existence you crave. And that's daunting, music, because genuine decisions loom. Authentic decisions, not the secure ones, not the cozy options, but those that respect your core identity. This is where many retreat. They arrive at this threshold and declare, "No way, it's overwhelming, I can't handle it." Simpler to retreat. Drifting off to slumber feels tempting. It's simpler to act like all is well. Simpler to hold that facade in place, yet you truly can't. Not entirely. After glimpsing the reality, you can't erase the vision. After experiencing the freedom of your true self, you can't revert to impersonating another. The gateway has swung wide, and though you might attempt to shut it, a fissure will linger, a faint glow signaling what you've surrendered. Thus, a decision awaits. You might linger in your current spot amid the familiar unease of an existence that doesn't belong to you. Or you could cross the threshold. You could embrace your essence entirely, unreservedly, without regret. And upon doing so, a wondrous transformation unfolds. The dread persists. The doubts remain. The obstacles don't vanish on their own, yet you evolve. You grow attuned to the now. You emerge genuinely authentic. You awaken to vitality in a manner you've never known, since you're no longer fractured. You're no longer battling your inner self. There's no split within you, one side craving this while the other yearns for that. You're unified, cohesive, fulfilled, and from this unity, all aspects of life stream naturally. Your efforts turn fluid, because you're done compelling yourself into tasks you despise. Your bonds deepen with sincerity because you're ceased the act of feigning an alternate persona. Your existence gains purpose because you're at last aligning it with your principles, your reality, your core. This path demands effort. I must emphasize that opting for your true self may well be the toughest endeavor you'll face, as it requires releasing all you've absorbed, all you've held as belief, music, all you've woven into your sense of identity. It involves confronting your darker aspects, those facets you've labored to conceal, to bury, to reject, the fury you've withheld, the grief you've barred from surfacing, the yearnings you've refused to recognize. Each must surface, must be acknowledged, must be woven back in. And this journey is chaotic. It's disquieting. It's agonizing. You'll encounter instants of profound doubt, moments when you ponder if you've erred catastrophically, moments when you ache for the straightforwardness of your former days, music, despite how they were draining your spirit. Yet you persist. You continue selecting your authentic self each day, each instant, not due to its simplicity, but due to its authenticity. Gradually, a subtle alteration emerges. The opposition begins to wane. The apprehension eases its hold, music, and you start uncovering a presence you hadn't realized existed. Serenity, not the sort derived from mastering every detail. Music, from resolving every puzzle, from ensuring no misfortune strikes, but the sort born of embracing the present, of relying on existence, of understanding that no matter what arises, you'll endure because you've stopped the charade of an untrue identity. This serenity holds firm. It isn't swayed by conditions. Music. It doesn't demand that events unfold ideally. It endures through joyful periods and trying ones. It persists in triumphs and setbacks. It remains when others cherish you and when they depart because it originates internally. It stems from that inner core that's always resided there, awaiting your awareness, that quiet nucleus, that unchanging focal point, that consciousness observing all yet unaltered by any. Music. By selecting your true self, you uncover this core. And upon locating it, you grasp that it's the sole essential. All the rest, snorts, every outward pursuit you've chased, every ambition you've chased, every validation you've craved, they're welcome. They're pleasant additions, but not vital because you possess what's required. You embody what you've sought, and this realization reshapes it all. Music. Your connections transform, not through abandoning everyone, but through your altered presence. You're no longer frantic for acceptance. You're unwilling to sacrifice your reality for harmony. Music. You're unafraid of solitude. And ironically, this renders you far more engaging as you're free of desperation. You're not dependent. You're not overly attached. You're not forever seeking affirmation. You're simply there, fully engaged, utterly genuine. And the fitting individuals, those who align with your vibe, your reality, your genuineness, they emerge, music, not from your search, but because similarity draws similarity. When you embody your true nature, music, you effortlessly draw in those doing the same. And these bonds, these ties, they stand apart. Music, they're profounder. They're more fulfilling because they rest on honesty, not on facades. Music, not on assuming parts, not on fulfilling demands. Just two souls authentically connecting, sharing their humanity. Music, your career shifts as well. Not always the nature of your pursuits, but your approach to them. When embracing your true self, you can no longer endure labor that goes against your core principles, saps your vitality, and leaves you feeling utterly hollow. That's when you start seeking out a job that truly resonates with your essence, a role that propels you forward like rocket fuel. That's precisely what Amal has been quietly nurturing on his own conditions, acting as if we're all standing tall and steady right now. It's not about forcing it. It's simply the natural outcome when existence moves freely through you, unblocked. Your physical form shifts too. The stress you've held onto for ages begins to unwind. Those migraines, digestive issues, persistent aches, they were your system's signals that imbalance had taken hold, that you'd been straying from your true path, that self-prioritization was essential. And once you truly embrace it, music, your frame eases up. It mends itself since it's no longer battling internally, no more straining to become what it isn't. So, here we stand. I've shared the outcomes of putting yourself first. The anxiety, the pushback, the profound shift, the serenity, the genuineness music, the liberation. Yet the pivotal query arises now. Are you ready to take the step? To embrace that decision, to dedicate yourself to authenticity, no matter the difficulty, the fear, the doubts from those nearby insisting you're off track? Or will you continue the facade? Will you cling to the disguise? Will you persist in an existence shaped by others' visions? The decision rests with you. It always has, and it forever will. But hear this. Time here is fleeting. More brief than you realize. Each instant wasted away from your real self slips by irreplaceably. You can't reclaim it, music. You can't replay it. It's vanished. So why squander it? Why devote your limited days to impersonating another? Why surrender your existence to demands that never belong to you? Pick yourself, not next week, not once stability returns, not after bravery builds music. Today, immediately, in this very instant, opt for yourself and discover the magic that unfolds.